Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sports Zone.
As it turns out, this week was about celebrating after all. Celebrating Chipper's marvelous career. And more importantly, celebrating the Braves' return to the postseason. Last night, we got to do both. Chipper was Chipper again. And Freddie Freeman smashed the Braves into the 2012 playoffs. Fly ball belted, center field deep. Hernandez back. Walk-off winner! The playoffs are guaranteed, but who knows? Maybe a division title can be had as the Braves look to catch the Nationals. 8 games left, 4 behind Washington. The Braves will try to keep the fun going tonight. Another perfect baseball night in Atlanta. Tonight it's game 2 of our 3-game series between the Marlins and the playoff-bound Atlanta Braves. And hi again, friends. Joe, Tom, and Chip back with you. What a night last night. What a dramatic night for this Atlanta Braves ball club. All the memories of 2011 are gone. The Braves are headed to postseason play, fellas, but with 8 games left, still have loftier goals than just qualifying for postseason play.
Yeah, that celebration last night reminded me of some mid-90s type celebrations, the way the guys were having a good time last night. But for Atlanta now to catch the Washington Nationals and have a chance to win the division, they're going to have a little bit of help, because the Washington Nationals have a nice 4-game lead with 8 to play. Here's what they've got left tonight and tomorrow against Philadelphia, and they haven't played against the Phillies. In fact, they've lost their last 5 against them, and at Philadelphia they're just 2-5 for the year. Then they have 3 at St. Louis. They have only played 4 games against St. Louis. They were all in Washington, and they won 3 out of 4 from the Cardinals. And then they have to play the Phillies again in Washington to end the season. So a tough road for the Washington Nationals to finish up.
No question about it. The Braves are going to have to get help. The good news is their side of the schedule they've handled pretty well. 2 more games against the Marlins. We know they played extremely well against them. They've got 3 against the Mets. They've 10-5 against them. 5-1 here at Turner Field. 2-2 against Pittsburgh on the season. Have not played against them up there yet. So their side of the ledger, I think they can take care of. They could very easily find themselves in a 7-1, potentially 8-0 finish to the season. The trouble is, even with that, you're still going to have to rely on Washington to play sub-500 baseball the rest of the year. And that's going to be a tough thing, but it's not impossible.
Those were our Jameson and upcoming schedules for the Braves and the Washington Nationals. But all Atlanta cares about is what they do. They've got to take care of their own business first. And a tough customer will greet them in game 2 of the series for the Miami Marlins. His name is Josh Johnson. Paul Maholm is his pitching opponent. We'll talk about their seasons when we return to Turner Field for game 2 of the series after this. in Atlanta. Game 2 between the Braves and the Marlins here at Turner Field. And both Paul Maholm and Josh Johnson facing their opposing clubs in back-to-back starts. We've seen the great run that Chris Medlin continues to be on, Tommy, for the Braves. Paul Maholm would like to get on one himself for Atlanta.
Yeah, he would. I mean, he's been pitching good baseball, not necessarily getting the results to go along with the way he's pitched. And, you know, he's had some success against the Marlins this season in 2 starts. 1-0 with a 1.8 ERA. His last time out against the Marlins, 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts. Moved the ball around well, changed speeds. Unfortunately, came away with a no decision in that game in which the Braves lost. So hopefully he can continue to pitch as well as he has, but get the benefit of some runs and maybe win a game.
Runs are something that Josh Johnson seemingly never gets, Joe, and that's a trend the Braves hope continue tonight.
Yeah, about the lowest run support of anybody in baseball, but he's always been a beast against the Braves. He's 6-5 lifetime against them with an unbelievable low ERA of 2.29 and averaging 10 strikeouts per 9 innings against the Braves. But with a little run support, he might be another guy tonight that's tough to beat, as he always seems to be, with a good hard fastball and sinker, good slider. Any night you have to face Josh Johnson, it's a tough night on our SunTrust Solid Performance.
So good matchup tonight. It's game 2 between the Braves and the Miami Marlins. Atlanta tries to keep on rolling and keep applying pressure to the first-place Nationals. Atlanta's playoff bound, and we're only 4 out in the East. Game 2 of this series with Miami's coming up next. For game 2 tonight, here's the lineup he will face as presented by Miami skipper Ozzie Guillen. Still no Mike Stanton, or Giancarlo Stanton as he's currently known. He's still out with that side problem. And you've got to contend with Reyes, Lee, and Dobbs in the middle of this Marlins batting order tonight.
And the man in charge of that will be Braves left-hander Paul Maholm, making his 30th start on the year, 10th for the Braves. See, against the National League East in 10 games, 6-1 with a 2.4 ERA. So he's pitched well against the Marlins this year, and he's pitched well against the East. Hopefully that'll continue tonight.
Like you said, Tom, he deserved a better fate his last time out. He should have gotten a win, but got a no decision. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Number 1, down and out. Usually when he's down in the zone, he limits his mistakes, and he gets a lot of outs, especially ground ball outs when he's down in the zone. And home sweet home. He's pitched well here at Turner Field, and not just since the Braves got him, but in his career, 2-2 at Turner Field with an excellent ERA of 3.19. Let's hope that works out for him again tonight.
No rock and roll things tonight?
You know, I was kind of
Maybe a little Leonard Skinner with Home Sweet Home.
I didn't have tunes in my head today.
No.
Like I did last night.
Just voices?
Just voices. Yeah, a lot of fog.
I feel your pain. Brian Peterson leads off for Miami tonight. Beautiful night, 82 degrees, low humidity, gentle breeze. All off to a good start. Peterson 0 for 4 in the series opener last night. No hits in his last 13 at bats for Miami.
They're not having a good road trip in that regard.
Mahalam now a 1-ball, 1-strike count. 2 runs, 4 hits, and 6 2/3 innings against the Marlins for Mahalam last time. And Joe, we've said it before with Paul, you know pretty quickly whether he has his ace stuff or not.
And it's usually, again, it's because he's down and he's getting some early swings and getting the ball hit on the ground. If he's going to deep counts and missing upstairs, that's when you know it might be a tough night for him. But I like watching him pitch, and I did when he was pitching for the Pirates or the Cubs. You knew that he wanted the ball back from the catcher and he was ready to go to work. Aggressive. And he's pitched that way for Atlanta.
Low and outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Let me ask you, Tommy, about a potential hangover effect, if you will, or a letdown effect for the Braves. They know they're going to postseason play. Was that addressed at all by the ball club before the game today?
Absolutely it was, because like we said, they have their eye on a bigger prize.
Ground ball toward Andrelton at short. And a close play, and just in time. Peterson hustled down the line but is retired. There's your first out. Maybe a part of that answer too is look who's still in the lineup. Nobody asked out of the lineup today, said Freddie Gonzalez before the game. Chipper's back in there, wants to play. Freddie told me he was thinking about giving Chipper the night off. Chipper said, I want to play. And there he is at third base with Brian McCann behind the plate.
Well, like we talked about last night, this being the last homestand, I'm sure Chipper wants to be in there, and depending on how things work out, he could get some nights off in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I like that idea. I also like the idea of maybe scoring about 10 runs by the 5th inning where he can play 5 and fly.
Gorkis Hernandez is the Miami center fielder. And he takes a called strike.
But I did mention that Josh Johnson was pitching, didn't I?
You did. Bryce Harper has the Nationals off and running tonight. I believe that's Kyle Kendrick for Philadelphia this evening.
It is.
Line drive into shallow right. Jason Hayward tracks it down, and Hernandez is out number 2. So we'll keep you up to date on all the scores around the National League tonight. The other big game for Atlanta is Milwaukee and Cincinnati. The Reds neck and neck with the Nationals for the top record in the National League. They're tied in that regard. So plenty of exciting baseball here over the final 8 days, and that is the one good thing, I suppose, about that second wild card. A lot more teams are in the hunt. Reyes had a big night last night. The Marlins shortstop, 2 singles and a double. He also struck out, and he's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
375 mark. Big on base percentage. Always a threat, of course, when he gets on base. Important for Paul to try to keep him off tonight. Something the Braves weren't able to do last night. Good numbers against Mahalam. 10 for 32 in his career.
Swing and a miss. The ball pops away from McCann. He's got to hurry to get Reyes and won't be able to. So Reyes reaches on a strikeout. And he's at first on the wild pitch, and the inning continues for Carlos Lee.
Right off the, came up off the dirt and off the heel of the glove. So a freebie for the Marlins.
And Carlos Lee is the batter. 44 of his 73 RBIs have come with the Marlins since they got him in early July, and he hits the first pitch cleanly into right. And they're at first and second with 2 outs.
He seems to like to do that. If you get a runner on base in front of him, he likes that first pitch. He did it a couple of times last night.
Shooting it right in that hole, hitting it where it was pitched.
And the Braves haven't been able to get him out too consistently this year. That's his 17th hit against Braves pitching this season. That's in 51 at bats. So some 2-out trouble for Mahalam for Greg Dobbs. Let's see if Paul can win this lefty-lefty matchup and end the top of the first. Dobbs hits lefties well. This season batting .308 against them. Only 39 at bats, however. Count.
With the injuries they have to several of their players and the limited bench they have because they just won't pay to call up enough players to give Ozzie Guillen a deep bench, especially in the third catcher category. There are a couple of guys in the lineup tonight that didn't face Mahalam in Florida. One of them's Peterson, one of them's Dobbs.
Yeah, they are really running out of players with the big league club. Murphy's out with a concussion. Ruggiano's probably done for the rest of the season. He's got a strained throwing shoulder. He hurt himself against the Mets. Kearns has been playing with bad back. Stanton's missed a week with a side problem. And the Braves are catching Miami in the midst of a 5-game losing streak. A stretch during which they're averaging a little over 2 runs per game offensively.
Well, as you hear in this game all the time, nobody's going to feel sorry for you, and the Braves are perfectly fine with catching them at the right time.
Slow roller on a 2-2 pitch by Dobbs. Mahalam is out of the first inning. Marlins get a hit, strand 2 runners, and Josh Johnson goes to work in a scoreless first inning in Atlanta. won 15 of their last 21 ball games. And here's how Freddie lines up his squad for game 2 of this series tonight. Jose Costanza gets the start in center field. Still no Michael Bourne with that sore thumb. Chipper's back in the cleanup spot. Last night's hitting hero Freddie Freeman is hitting 5th, and of course Mahalam bats 9th.
And they'll be facing Marlins right-hander Josh Johnson, making his 31st start on the year, 8-13 on the season. We talked in the open about how good he's been against the Braves. There you see what he's done at Turner Field in 7 career starts, a 2-0 record with a 1.49 ERA.
His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Better start. He allowed 6 base runners in the first 3 innings to Atlanta down in Miami, and the Braves manufactured single runs in the first 3.
Bunted back to the mound, and Johnson handles cleanly.
And that proved to be the difference. Braves won the game 3-0, but also heavy sink. I'm not sure what's happened to his sinker that doesn't seem to be there for him in the second half of the season. He's only gone 3-8 with a 3.56. Not a bad ERA in the second half, but not much success. He throws on a big downhill tilt, and for some reason that good heavy bowling ball sinker that he used to have just hasn't been there.
If memory serves too, Joe, when we saw the Marlins and Johnson down in Miami, he too followed Evaldi's start. And Josh was throwing a lot of breaking balls in that game.
Tonic breaking balls.
So let's see if he establishes fastball in the early innings tonight. There's a good one to Martin Prado.
Well, it's always been his bread and butter. I don't know why he wouldn't try and establish it. Even if it's off a little bit, that's a pitch he's got to pitch off.
Nothing in 2 to Prado. He's having a red hot month in September. Martin this month hitting .346, 28 hits. And as we've said all year, a terrific 2-strike hitter.
He cracked me up today. He called me over to his locker, and he said, "Tell me how I hit that pitch last night." I said, "I don't know."
Yeah, we said on air we weren't sure how you hit it, but
head high in 97.
Fly ball hammered deep left. Peterson going back. It's another 2-strike hit for Prado. A long homer. It's 1-0.
Well, there was that old song, "See You in September." Could be singing that. Well, this was kind of "See You Later in September." Fastball. Ball jumped off the barrel of the bat. His 10th of the year.
Ball high to Jason Hayward. 91 2-strike hits. Martin. And 5 of his last 6 hits against Miami have come with 2 strikes.
they might want to change the scouting report and not get him to 2 strikes.
I just start him with a 3-ball count every time.
Well, that's what he's done with Jason Hayward. Look at where Martin ranks in that 2-strike category. Amazing. 3 balls and a strike.
I'd say he's going to wind up with 100 at the pace he's going, but he might wind up with 110 at the rate he's going this month.
So it's Paul Mahalam that's been given an early lead tonight on Martin's 10th homer of the season. And now a full count for Jason Hayward. And he takes low. Here's Chipper. Lost in all the drama of the ninth inning, let's not forget Chipper led off that frame with a double and scored 2 of the Braves' 4 runs last night.
It's funny how, to a man, every guy that was interviewed after last night's game in some fashion referred to how they just knew Chipper was going to do something in the ninth.
Flinched but dived back safely. It's funny, Tom, how the game works out that way. In the old days, you're playing the Padres in a close game. You knew you were going to have to face Tony Gwynn in a critical situation.
Well, those are the guys that they have that reputation for a reason, and when they get in those opportunities, more times than not, you're surprised when they don't do something.
Nice stop by Buck on a ball in the dirt. 2-0 the count. Now John out to talk to Josh Johnson. The other funny scene last night was Chipper's reaction. I don't think he remembered how cold champagne is when it gets dumped down your back.
He had a lot of it dumped on him last night.
There was a funny react from Chris Medlin when he was talking to Tom Hart. Tom said, well, you don't look all that excited. He goes, man, I'm freezing. He said, I'm soaking wet and it's cold out here.
Yeah, great job by Tom in the locker room last night, as well as our Braves Live crew for covering the postseason celebration last evening. Jason's running. Good jump. Buck's throw is terrible. It hit Hayward in the leg. And Jason Hayward now has his 20th stolen base. A 2020 season for Jason.
I don't know where the throw hit him, but looks like he's trying to shake it off right now. Oh, right side of the leg. Right calf muscle. Bang.
Green light for Chipper. Might have had it, but the pitch was off the plate. Back-to-back walks. And if you missed it last night, folks, how about this moment for Freddie Freeman? Joe, I think you said it really well. 12 months of pent-up emotion came out with one swing of the bat from Freddie.
Well, he'll forever be remembered for this. I mean, granted, it's not a walk-off in a World Series or even a division playoff, but he got him into the postseason, and that's a huge hit. There's only been 7 of those in the history of the game. A walk-off hit to get a team into the postseason, so that was pretty special. Crowd, I can't get over how loud the crowd was for a stadium that wasn't sold out. It sounded sold out.
Yeah, the place erupted when that ball was hit.
And the other amazing historical feat, only the second game-winning homer with his team trailing in the game to clinch a postseason berth. The other, the shot heard around the world, Bobby Thompson with the 51 New York Giants.
As Freddie said, it was the coolest thing that has ever happened to him. And all of a sudden, Josh Johnson having a hard time finding the plate. 12 of his last 15 pitches have missed the plate.
Fly foul over the Miami dugout. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count for Freeman.
Well, that can sometimes be a product of the way your season's going. You know you're not getting any runs scored for you. You've already given up one run, and you're thinking, well, the way this thing's going, I can't afford to give up too many more. So he's right now he's in gamble mode. He's trying not to give up any more runs. He doesn't care that it's the first inning because he doesn't think he's going to get too many to play with.
Yeah, so the Marlins have the dubious distinction of having the number 1 and number 2 least supported starting pitchers in baseball on their staff, and Nate Eovaldi and Josh Johnson. Big reason why Josh is 8-13 this year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fly ball well hit toward left center, but Hernandez will have a play. No tag by Hayward. 2 outs. Nationals are all over the Phillies early. Kurt Suzuki's hit a home run for Washington.
And that's off Kyle Kendrick, who pitched such a beautiful game against the Braves just a few days ago. Well, 5 days ago. Last time out.
Hayward and Chipper at second and first for Dan Uggla, who's never had a hit against Josh Johnson. This would be a good time to change that. 1 ball, no strikes. Seems to me, two fellas, the Braves in these last couple of weeks have done an excellent job of forcing high pitch counts against opposing starters.
That's something that, again, it seems like when they're playing well, we talk about that. We talk about their hitting with runners in scoring position. When they're not, we're talking exactly about the opposite of that. They're not working the count. They're impatient. They're not getting big hits. I mean, it's funny how that goes.
Fly ball right center field. Long run out there by Dobbs, and Greg gets there, and that retires the side. The Braves pick up the game's first run. Martin Prado's in double figures. His 10th to left gives Paul Maholm and the Braves a 1-0 lead. To the top of the second. Time to cheer your Braves on in October. Postseason tickets are on sale now. And get your tickets for any of the playoff games coming here at Turner Field. It could be for the wild card on Friday, October 5th, or who knows, as this crazy final week unfolds. Visit Braves.com/postseason right now to order yours. And here's the Marlins' hottest hitter right now, Donovan Solano. What a night he had last night.
Career night.
He's the only guy in baseball right now who's probably saying, what's so good about this Medlin guy?
Yeah. Only guy in the world that can hit him.
A solo homer in the second last night for his first big league blast. And then a go-ahead homer in the 7th inning on an 0-2 pitch that put Medlin and the Braves behind 3-2.
That one was in the 2nd inning. Gave the Marlins a 1-0 lead. And this one was in the 7th inning, and it regained the lead 3-2 for the Fish. First 2 homers of his career. 940 at bats in AAA in his career. 5 homers.
Well, he might be playing himself into consideration for a starting job, perhaps, for the Marlins next year. They are going to have plenty of openings.
And he'll be inexpensive. Not arbitration eligible by any means.
Two balls, 2 strikes. That one got through McCann's legs. And Solano, with 9 hits in his last 15 at bats, has an even count. Full count. That's John Buck, who's been swinging the bat better of late for Miami. But first, Solano has to be subdued. Still a 3-2 count. Lined past Chipper, and Solano continues to sizzle at the plate. A leadoff single here in the 2nd inning.
Well, it's pretty apparent to me that he can hit a fastball, boys, and that one was in on him. Oh, 2 pitch last night on a fastball that Medlin left out over the plate, and he went the other way with it for a homer. That's a quick bat right there.
Might want to find out if he can hit something else.
Buck, a 2.01 average for the season. He's hitting to 8 double plays. Well, Holland usually gets a lot of ground balls and twin killings. He could use one here in the 2nd, up 1-0.
Yeah, that 201 mark may not sound like much to you, but for John Buck, he's come a long way. He was hitting in the 160s and 170s most of the season.
Hitting .294 since the 1st of August, so he really has turned his season around offensively. They're not showing the final batting average number.
Well, the Marlins would like to see something from him because they're on the hook for $6.1 million from this guy for next year.
And with young Rob Brantley, an inexpensive alternative, Buck too might be playing for his Miami life. Ball, 2 strikes. That's Gil Velasquez. He's on deck. Brian's been a busy man behind the plate. A lot of pitches in the dirt from Mahalo.
Yeah, mostly the breaking ball. He's been trying to throw some backdoor breaking balls that have missed wide, and when he tries to drop it in on the back foot of the right-handers, he's bouncing it.
That one had some snap to it, and Buck is down on strikes. 1 on, 1 out for Velasquez.
Big curve ball there. That was a good one.
How about a ground ball from the Miami third baseman? He was 0 for 3 last night, including a strikeout. Batting .207 for the year. 1 ball, no strikes. Velasquez, one of many Marlins that's been up and back between Miami and New Orleans, their AAA affiliate this year. He played 110 games at AAA and hit .312 for the Zephyrs. And is a rare September call-up for the Marlins. Was brought back September 14th.
That ball club in New Orleans was actually the last AAA team to play in Denver before the Rockies went in there. They originally were the Denver Zephyrs.
Really? I didn't know that. Line drive into shallow center field by Velasquez. And 2 are on with 1 out. Josh Johnson will stand in the second.
Had a little Martin Prado type swing on that one.
Yeah, it did. Tried to go away and missed inside, but Velasquez did a nice job getting his hands inside of it. Fighting it off, got enough of it for a base hit.
Josh Johnson has not had a good year at the plate. He's 5 for 52 this year.
I think we just had a missed sign too. Like the Braves might have had a pickoff play on. Simmons was bolting behind the runner, and Ugla hustling over to first to try to let the runner think he was covering. That was not the play.
Downstairs for Josh Johnson. He's trying to give the Braves an out. 2 balls and a strike. "34 strikeouts, 4 sacrifice bunts for Johnson. And now 2-2.
Well, he's been struggling getting runs. It's an opportunity to help himself.
Got the bunt down. And Chipper will take care of business. Runners move up to second and third. 2 outs. 5-4 is the sacrifice. And now Peterson bats with a couple of runners in scoring position. And during the Marlins 5-game losing streak, this has been another area where they've really struggled. It stands to reason you're only scoring 2 runs a game, but hitting about $140 with runners in scoring position over their last 5 losses.
That's a frustrating number. Braves can certainly vouch for that with some of the struggles they've had over the course of the season. That same statistic.
.143 to be exact coming into play tonight. And Peterson, who's hitless in his last 14 trips, is ahead in the count. He's in a good spot. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good hook.
And again, Peterson kind of forced into action tonight, lefty versus lefty. He's only had 38 at bats against left-handers all year coming into tonight, and is now 6 for 39 against them.
So let's see what Paul does with a 1-2 pitch. Changed his arm angle, Tommy. And Peterson stayed alive.
So drop down, sidearm 3/4 breaking ball. Give him a little bit different look, a little something else to think about.
Good spot too. Quite a bit off the plate.
No swing. Ground ball to second, and Mulholland is out of trouble. Miami strands 2 more runners. Atlanta leads by a run.
Marlins 1-0. Chipper Jones is much drier today than he was last night, and quite a scene in the Braves clubhouse after their walk-off victory against the Marlins, which clinched a spot in the postseason. Chipper was the focus of most of that, and he talked about that celebration earlier today.
I was actually riding to the park today, and I was listening to a couple morons on on the radio, and they were bad mouthing us because we were celebrating last night. And I got to thinking, I was like, you know what? If our season ends on October 5th, we got to celebrate, you know, and that's something these guys haven't gotten to do, you know, and why take it away from us? You know, every time we advance, you know what? We're going to celebrate, whether you like it or not, whether it's apropos or not, you know, I mean, we've earned it. And quite frankly, we can afford to pop the top on some champagne bottles and some beer cans if we want to, you know, so find something else to talk about.
And guys, I ran into one of those morons in the press box before the game tonight, to use Chipper's word. Safe to say that if the Braves have another couple of celebrations like that, there won't be anybody critical of that.
You would think so, Tom. I mean, especially if it was coming from one of the morons on their own radio flagship station.
Well, and 18 players that are on the current roster as the Braves play tonight, and their manager, Freddie Gonzalez, in his current capacity, have never been to the postseason. Well, first chance, first opportunity. What are you supposed to do? Just sit back and say, "Oh, ho hum."
Right, and
playoffs.
And that's a big part of this, you know. And I know to some extent they're looking at the history of this organization, and you look up and you see all those division championship flags and all that stuff, and people are thinking, well, they didn't win their division. What are they celebrating? Well, you know what? For a lot of these guys, they weren't here for that. They weren't a part of that. This is, like you said, this is their first time. They've accomplished something. You know, whether it's division championship, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. That you play this game, obviously, to win your division, to win the World Series, but you're also playing for one of those coveted playoff spots. And you know what? They got one. So good for them, and have at it.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and you heard Chipper say, each rung of the ladder they climb, they're going to celebrate harder and harder, and they certainly have earned that.
I just don't understand why anybody would be critical of some guys enjoying what they've accomplished.
Andrelton Simmons lines to short. Jose Reyes makes the grab. 2 outs on a hard hit ball. McCann started the inning with a strikeout. Now a line out. And here's Mahalam with the bases empty.
Let's hope there's 3 or 4 more celebrations before it's all over.
Absolutely.
Ball 1 to Mahalam.
'94 on that one. That's a little more Josh Johnson like than the '91 we were seeing it in the first inning.
Mahalam puts it in play, but Donovan Solano's there, and the Braves are out in order, and this game heads to the third. 1-0 Atlanta on a Martin Prado homer. And we hope you'll join us Friday before the game. Fox Sports South is bringing you live coverage of an unforgettable ceremony. Don't miss the Braves tribute to Chipper Jones, a Braves Live special presented commercial-free by your Georgia Best Chevy dealers. Friday at 7 on Fox Sports South.
I'll probably better get here a little earlier than I normally do for that one, huh?
You bet.
It'll be a little bit tough getting down here, I would imagine.
Yeah, 6:55 will be just fine.
Yeah. Well, it's a 7:30 game, right? I mean, there's plenty of time.
There you go, right? But I spoke with Beth Marshall with the Braves before the game. The ceremonies will start promptly at 7. So she encouraged everybody, with huge crowds expected all weekend long, make plans, get to the ballpark early so you don't miss any of the pregame festivities for Chipper Jones Friday night.
How are you going to pick me up?
Well, I mean, you're going to the Hall of Fame, you name it, Tom.
I have to pick you up at the golf course.
You know, see, I wish I played as much golf in retirement as people think I do.
Yorkis Hernandez lined out to right his first time up. And fouls that one off his foot. 2-2 your count.
Just looking at those pictures of Chipper, the comparison of when he was young to now, standing at home plate with his helmet on, getting ready for a pitch, and now there's just really no change. And I think about watching Cal Ripken through the latter stages of his career, and I always applaud people who can make adjustments and apply them in a real successful manner like Ripken did. But Cal had a different stance almost every year, and he was trying to make adjustments for maybe his bat slowing down a little bit, hands not as quick as they were.
Simmons at short. Short hop handled by Freeman. Good play by Freddie. 1 out.
First time I've seen Andrelton not get one there on the fly this year. But to finish my thought, there's no difference in Chipper's swing. There's no difference in his stance. If he makes an adjustment, maybe cheat to get to a fastball, it's not noticeable. It's just the same stance, the same approach since he first got here.
And that's what I was going to ask you both. You were here when Chipper became a major league player with the Braves. Reyes has another hit against Atlanta, his 4th hit of the series. We can talk more about this on Friday if you want to think about it. Till then, I understand. But first impressions of Chipper Jones when you saw him play, what was your initial impression when you saw him in spring training or in the big leagues?
You know, I don't know that I had that initial kind of thing. I think of it more in terms of, like I've said to people, you knew he was a good player because he was a #1 draft pick, and you heard all the hype. But you don't really know. Well, when I got to see him that first spring training, you knew he could play, and he should have made the team. He would have made the team that year. So you knew right away that he had talent and he could play, that he was athletic, all those things. I mean, you knew it was there. Look, you don't ever look at a kid and say, oh, this kid's destined to be a Hall of Famer or anything like that. You grow into that. But it's pretty evident that first spring training he showed up. He was a good player.
One of the things that was taken from him in a way was his speed, and that was one of the things that struck me, was how fast he was. And when he first tore up his knee that first time in spring training, I thought, you know, that's going to slow him down a little bit, and it did to some extent. But he certainly wasn't slow. He had above average speed, but he could really run prior to that first knee injury. He had 30 stolen bases one year, didn't he?
Or close to that, somewhere around there.
.25 in '99.
How many?
25.
That's his high.
That's his high. He had 40 in the minor leagues in '91. That was his second pro season down in Macon. Oh, and 2 to Carlos Lee. He singled his first time up. Very deliberate pace by Paul Maholm tonight. He's had runners on in every inning so far this evening. And missed the inside corner.
Anytime there's a guy, it's kind of like Bryce Harper this year. Anytime there's a guy that gets to the big leagues with a lot of notoriety, there's always a little skepticism where you want to say, okay, show me how good you are. So when those guys get here and show you right away how good they are, they're even more impressive because of some of that so-called baggage that comes with them.
Fly ball pretty well hit, but that's playable in left. Prado at the edge of the warning track calls it in. And Carlos Lee's the second out.
I've always said that there are some guys in the minor leagues have to constantly prove that they can play. There are other guys, very gifted players like a Chipper Jones, who have to prove that they can't play. They're going to get to the big leagues and they have to prove that they can't play, and Chipper never proved that he couldn't play. It just got better and better.
Yeah, it's the high draft picks versus the non-high draft picks, and non-high draft picks constantly have to prove themselves in the minor leagues. The high draft picks, you know you're going to get that chance to get to the big leagues probably because there's a lot invested in you.
Right.
And then it's up to you to show whether or not you belong there. So yeah, there's always something to prove.
Swing and a miss by Dobbs, who grounded out to second in his first at bat tonight. Mahalem's done a good job of keeping Reyes close at first base. He had him leaning a bit towards second and is back safely with 2 outs. So again, hope you'll make plans to join us the rest of this homestand. One more with the Marlins here tomorrow. Then the Mets come to town for the weekend. Standing room only on Friday and Sunday. Some tickets available Saturday. And a roller again to the right side. Dobbs was reaching for that pitch, and Mahalem is out of the 3rd inning. Top of the Braves order is coming up, leading 1-0. Order in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Atlanta leads 1-0. And time for tonight's McDonald's Fans of the Game.
Everybody has their Braves gear on. I'm loving that.
That's an even count. Constanza tapped back to the mound his first time. That's been a real rarity for Josh Johnson this year, fellas. He's really had trouble getting leadoff hitters out.
Yeah, that #1 guy in the order has big numbers against him and has had all year. 48 average, almost a .400 on base percentage.
Any update on Michael Bourne and his sore thumb today?
Aside from him not being in the lineup, I think the statement was fairly obvious that it's just not ready. And if it is ready, they're going to be overly cautious in his return. They said yesterday that it might be today or tomorrow, and obviously they're hoping for tomorrow.
And Constanza's aboard with a leadoff walk. That's 3 walks already for Johnson in 2 innings plus of work. And that brings up Prado, who's the only man to touch the plate so far.
Once again, a 2-strike pitch and a fastball on the inner third of the plate, and Martin hammered it into left field. Gives the Braves a 1-0 lead.
Back to Michael Bourne. You can play, you can hit with just about anything on your body jammed except the thumb. And I say that because it's Michael's left hand. So that's his top hand. And anything that is remotely close to being jammed or even off the brand, you feel it so much in that thumb. You won't have to deal with that if it's hurting.
Big lead for Constanza. And he's back safely at first.
Maybe the Braves can take advantage of Josh Johnson here. He's given up the 4th most stolen bases in the National League,
including one tonight. Jason Hayward stole a bag in the opening inning. Jose's running. The pitch off the glove of Buck and all the way to the backstop. A stolen base. Number 5 on the season.
Jose Constanza didn't spend that much time in the big leagues this year, but he was up a couple of different times. But I can see him making the postseason roster because of his versatility in all 3 outfield positions. He can pinch run, he can pinch hit, and especially if there is a wild card game. And because of the way the roster is going to be set up for that, you don't need to carry all your starting pitchers. Definitely see him being on the roster for that.
Oh, no question. I think in that 1-game playoff, having a guy like that on your bench that can run, that can bunt, and a guy that you could use to manufacture a run to some degree, that's a very valuable asset.
Let's see if Prado can move him up with nobody out. 1 ball, no strikes. More balls than strikes for Josh Johnson tonight.
With regard to Constanza, I was trying to rack in my brain. Dave Baker, Laser Baker, helped me out trying to think of a guy on some of your good teams. Tom, Luis Polonia. He provided some of that spark for a guy coming off the bench, steal a base, put down a bunt if he needed it.
Looping liner into right field. That's going to get down. Costanza's going to be waved. Dobbs' throw is going to be cut off. It's 2-0. Oh, did Jose fly around third base? And Prado has both Braves RBIs tonight.
Well, there are 2 things to watch on this. One is the swing by Martin Prado that was very Gil Velasquez-like. The way he inside out of this pitch. But the landing at home plate was not a real pretty one for Constanza. He got some of his landing gear trapped under him, his right arm.
Jose got up. He had dirt in some funny places there, like you see there on the top of his shoulder. So Jason Hayward hits. Still nobody out in this Braves third inning. A little bit of a scary landing here, but that right arm got kind of stuck there. He couldn't get it out.
Lucky he didn't get a little rug burn there on the forehead.
So a walk, a stolen base, and another multi-hit game from our team today. And there's Constanza's speed that paid off. Now Hayward hooks the ball into right field. Prado around second. He's going to take an extra base. The Braves are running at will against Dobbs in right, and he was maybe 20 yards from the infield dirt. That's a simple case of a guy who has played a little bit of outfield, but not that much. Forced to play out there because they're short-handed, and just wants to make sure the ball doesn't get by him. Not at all thinking about really coming up firing to throw. Here's Chipper. 1 in, 2 on, nobody out. Johnson walked him in the first. I love what Jason did there, and he was successful at doing it. You don't often see Hayward trying to really go out around a pitch and really emphasize trying to pull it, but he was trying to pull the ball in the hole since they were holding Prado on over there, and that paid off. One ball, 1 strike. Take a look at how Jason really goes out around this pitch. There's some top hand on the swing. Got the barrel out there. His improvement this year is amazing. Talked a lot about Craig Kimbrell and his candidacy for the National League Cy Young Award. How about most improved player or comeback player for Jason Hayward this year?
He'll be in the conversation. You know, it's a good thing to see. He went through struggles, and really struggles for the first time probably in his baseball life, and you always wonder how guys are going to react to that. I think he's answered that question pretty well.
Fly ball to left. Peterson is there, makes the catch, and no advance by Prado, but Hayward's going to tag up, and he'll move to second. That's another facet of his game that I think often goes undiscussed. His base running has been excellent this year. Well, I think sometimes he gets lumped into a category, if you will, of just being a real specimen and an athlete. But he's got real good baseball smarts and instincts, and just like the swing, taking advantage of a hole on the right side, here with a throw that he knows they've got to make toward home plate, he can tag up. And even if they cut it off, you get the run in, he can get a run down before the inning ends. Braves fans boo as Freddie Freeman's going to be walked intentionally. That's going to load the bases for Dan Uggla. Dan's got great numbers with the bases loaded too. And here they are. Randy St. Clair has been a busy man again this season. He's the Marlins pitching coach. Josh Johnson's season high in walks was at San Diego July 29th. He walked 6 batters in 5 innings.
His next highest total is 4. He's walked 4 tonight. This marks the 3rd time this year he's walked as many as 4, even though that one was intentional.
So it's all set up for Ugla. Bases loaded, 1 out. Good pitch selection there after the mound meeting.
Wade LeBlanc, who made a start against the Braves down in Miami, now in their bullpen, is loosening up. What do you see different about Josh Johnson?
You know, it's hard to say when you don't see a guy a lot, but it you know, to your point where you said he was throwing a lot of breaking balls his last time, it just looks to me like, and I've been there, he's kind of in that mode where he's pitching not to lose, you know, instead of trying to go out there and win a game.
And he has so little margin for error when he goes to the mound, too. I mean, it's 2-0, but he's got to feel like it's 5-0 as few runs as they score for him.
And in his mind, it might as well be the way his season's gone. And, you know, he's not getting any runs scored for him. He's got the losing record with a good ERA. So, I mean, all those things add up in your mind where you think you've got to be perfect to even give yourself a shot to win a game.
Good eye by Ugla to even the count at 2.
Nice stop by John Buck, too.
That was tipped and caught. And Ugla's down swinging. That's the 2nd out of the inning. But still a tough task for Johnson. Here's Brian McCann playing in his 1,000th big league game tonight. Said it earlier off air to Joe and Tom, but it seems like yesterday that Brian got to the big leagues, doesn't it?
It certainly doesn't seem like 1,000 games ago.
Max had a lot of at-bats against Josh Johnson. 45 coming into the game. 267 average with a homer.
Belt high strike. It's 0-2. Johnson making his best pitches since he's loaded the bases. Struck out Ugla, now ahead of Brian, 0-2. And McCann is down swinging. Big pitching by Josh Johnson. Atlanta loads the bases, but to score only 1 run. Costanza came home on a Martin Prado's base hit. The flying feet of the Braves center fielder tonight makes it a 2-0 score after 3. brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT Uverse, by Delta Airlines, and by Toyota. Hey, we're zipping right along in Atlanta. We're through 3 innings. As we approach 8:30 tonight, will face the bottom part of the Miami order. It's Donovan Solano who singled his first time up.
Oh, and 2 again to Babe Solano.
Don't throw him a fastball.
Please.
As Joe said, he can hit that. That was bounced foul toward the Marlins on deck circle, and John Buck standing there bunted that ball away from himself. Pretty nifty bit of work there.
Those girls' night.
Solano's down on strikes. And that's 3 strikeouts for Mahalam so far tonight. All season long, Braves baseball on Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price, every day. Had to go to the bullpen on the promo there.
Wow.
Here's Buck. Big swing and a miss.
You say something about John Buck that you can't say about too many major league players. He's from Wyoming. Just aren't that many guys from that state to play baseball anyway.
Well, he had a big game against the Braves on September 18th. Buck had a triple and a homer. You might recall this game that Paul Mahalam started. So Paul's exacted some revenge tonight. 2 swinging strikeouts, and 2 are out quickly in the 4th. You know, the internet these days, you can Google just about anything. You said there aren't many major league players from Wyoming. I'm showing Joe the list. There's about 12 guys. That's it.
In history or right now?
In history.
Wow. You say 12 right now would be a lot.
One of them was Tom Browning. Remember him from the Reds? Buck is another out of Kemmerer, Wyoming. And Paul Mahalam is out of the 4th inning. 3 up, 3 down. Braves up 2-0 here in Atlanta. Leading 2-0 after 3.5 innings, and tonight's Subway Sub Prize on the line is the National League wild card and the National League Eastern race up to the minute.
Braves with a comfy lead over the Cardinals right now. Dodgers and Milwaukee fading in the distance.
Tip your cap to the Cardinals. Remember, they had a very soft 9-game schedule, 6 with Houston, 3 with the Cubs. They've certainly taken advantage of that. They're 7-1 in that stretch. And playing the Astros tonight down at Minute Maid Park. Another historical footnote. I believe tonight is the final broadcast for Milo Hamilton, who's retiring at the end of the season. I believe this is Houston's last home game as they play the Cardinals. Fly ball hit toward right, and Dobbs will make a nice running catch for out number 1. Braves are trying to catch Washington. The Phillies are trying to catch up to him tonight, fellas, because the Nats have brought out the long ball tonight.
Bryce Harper hit the first of 3 homers for the Nats tonight, a 2-run homer. They got a solo homer from Ian Desmond, and then Kurt Suzuki, who may have been one of the best pickups of the year by any team. His 5th with the Nats, and a long one, a 2-run shot as well.
Mahalo, another chance for Dobbs in right, and quickly 2 are out.
So Suzuki, a veteran presence behind the plate, knows how to call a game, handle a veteran pitching staff, and in this case a young pitching staff, and he's swinging the bat. So a real nice pickup after the A's cut him loose.
Got a 5-2 lead in that ballpark.
Yeah, the Phillies have come back, so you get into that Nationals bullpen, anything can happen too.
Strike 2, Constanza, who walked, stole a base, and scored last time up. Josh Johnson's pitching a little angry right now after loading the bases in the 3rd. He has set down the last 5 men in a row, and he'll take matters into his own hands as we go to the 5th inning. 2-0 Braves after 4. Brian Peterson and Corquis Hernandez coming up for the Miami Marlins. Paul Maholm settled in. He's set down 5 straight and has struck out 4. Has yet to walk a batter. He's had runners in every inning but his last. Let's see if he can get Johnson to start his 5th inning in good shape. 1 ball, no strikes. Bouncing ball slowly out to second. One man down. One more game with the Marlins here tomorrow night. Hope you'll join us for that. And with the Mets series almost sold out, tomorrow night might be your best chance to score great seats to see Chipper Jones one last time before postseason play. Braves.com/tickets the place to go, or by phone 800-745-3000. In standing room only Friday and Sunday. Those tickets are $20 a piece. Regular seats available for Saturday. And then we're off to Pittsburgh for the final 3 regular seasons up at PNC Park against the Pirates.
Only 3 fly ball outs so far given up by Paul. 1 in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Everything else ground balls and strikeouts. Good for him.
Paul's pitched great against the National League East this year. He's already beaten the Marlins once this season. And leads tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Oh, where was that?
Really right at the target, too. Box track shows it outside, but it looked like it crossfired across the plate.
Just to serve, perhaps, though, as Chipper Jones in foul ground takes care of Peterson. 2 outs.
Fans, time for our Georgia Power Energy Tip number 5. Georgia Power's EarthSense Commercial Energy Efficiency Program offers rebates to encourage business customers to incorporate high efficiency measures into their facilities. That's Georgia Power Energy Tip number 5.
Boy, what a team.
Right? I mean, no mistaking which number that was.
An 0 for 2 night for Gorkis Hernandez. Mahalam's retired 7 straight. And it'll be 8 straight once Chipper makes the toss across. And Mahalam and the Braves maintain their 2-0 lead. Mr. RBI, Martin Prado, leads things off for Atlanta when we return. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and fellas, it's time for tonight's Home Depot tools from the dugout.
I like this one. 930 games in the major league since July 20th. 2 have been walk-off homers that turned a loss into a win, and they've both been by the Braves.
2 pretty memorable and dramatic ones. People won't forget this one from Chipper off of Papelbon, and of course the one last night with Freddie Freeman put the Braves into the playoffs. Atlanta fans won't forget that one, and nor will Freddie Freeman
ever.
Doing his best impersonation of Scott rolling around the bases on that home run.
Sure was. One of the things that guys kept talking about with respect to that homer was how it didn't slice, it didn't hook. He hit that just as square as you can hit it, right back where it came from.
I didn't ask him before the game, and I meant to. When you hit a ball that hard and hit it that straight, do you even feel contact?
Not usually. I'm sure he didn't. He said, though, that he could tell off the bat that it was backspin. It had backspin off it just by the point of contact.
Yeah, it's almost one of those sitting up here. It's hard to tell because he hit it so hard you don't know if it's going to stay in the air long enough to get out. But Dunn knew it was gone.
Reyes at short, and that's the first time the Marlins retire Martin Prado. It's been a while since we've heard from Tom Hart. Let's check in with him now.
Guys, Freddie had a great answer today when I asked him why he sprinted around the bases.
I wanted to get my teammates. That's we've been battling all year, and I wanted to celebrate it with them. So I got there as fast as I could.
Can you explain that little jump that you did into the pile?
No, I can't. I don't know what happened. I blacked out. I was just running. I jumped. Usually you're not supposed to jump because you can get hurt, but in that moment, I didn't care what happened.
Not a lot of thought to that one. See ball, hit ball, run the bases, jump in pile.
I like that. I hope to see a lot more of it.
No balls and a strike to Jason Hayward. Again, so many expectant faces in that scrum at home plate, knowing that they were going to the playoffs for the very first time. I'm sure you remember that feeling, Tom.
Oh, yeah, like it was yesterday.
There was a great photograph today in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution online, AJC.com, of some of the celebration last night, and one of them is a picture of Dan Uggla. And he had his hat turned backwards. It was when the team came back on the field and they were spraying some of the fans that were still in the stands behind the dugout. But Martin Prado decided to go ahead and start loading up more dirt. And Dan has got dirt all over his face. He said, I finally looked at Martin and said, dude, come on. That's enough. It is a wonderful picture, though, of Dan.
There's another Brave who, despite playing in his 6th major league season, has never been to postseason play. With all of those 30 homer seasons.
Well, you couldn't tell the way he was reacting at home plate, could you?
No, not at all. That, I think, is what is so cool about postseason play. Veteran players, rookie players, nothing quite like that thrill of playing in October. Three balls, no strikes to Chipper, who's already walked once tonight.
Seventh 3-ball count for Johnson today. Oh, they found the picture. Like he'd just come out of a rugby match.
Chipper walks. That ends Johnson's streak of 7 straight hitters retired. And it brings up Freddie Freeman. 5 walks now for Josh Johnson. 93 RBIs. Freddie's got a shot at 100 this year. With 7 games left after tonight. He's knocked in 42 runs with 2 outs this season. He was thinking about a long ball right there. Strike one.
Well, he said it was the coolest thing that ever happened to him, but there's going to be a whole lot more cool things happen to Freddie Freeman over the course of his career, and hopefully a bunch during this upcoming postseason.
The other part of the playoffs too is I'm sure much of the national media attention will be focused on Chipper Jones, but for Jason Hayward, for Freddie Freeman, that's going to be a national coming out party. The rest of Major League world will see what they can do. One ball, 2 strikes. And a late call, 3rd strike, retires Freddie Freeman.
Those were 2 breaking balls, and neither one of them caught the plate. They both broke around the plate.
DJ Rayburn has the final vote, and Freeman is struck out. That's the 5th strikeout for Josh Johnson. Looked a little low. Braves lead 2-0. It's the 6th inning. That means it's trivia time, where the Braves lead the Marlins 2-0. Our AT Universe trivia question: who's the only player with more steals since 2005 than Jose Reyes?
I don't know.
Carl Crawford?
Yes.
Fly ball to left, and that's playable for Prado. He's got it. Reyes is out number 1. I think we just saw the man that's the answer. With the Phillies, Juan Pierre, the active stolen base leader in Major League Baseball.
I thought of him too a second ago.
So that's my answer, but I don't know if it's right or not.
Okay. Stick with it.
Stick with it. Right.
I'm going to stick with my guy.
Carl Crawford? Okay.
Guess I better come up with somebody.
Give Tom a call. Here's Carlos Liddy. Leads 1 for 2 tonight. This man's had an incredible career. Very successful Major League hitting career. 13 straight seasons in double digits in homers. Not this year, however. He's running out of time. He's stuck on 9 home runs. but still 73 RBIs between Houston and the Marlins. Sky high fly ball to center. That's playable for Constanza.
Well, I know this. Tom and I walked out of the ballpark with him last night, and he is ginormous.
That is a big man.
He's holding down first base for the Marlins the rest of this season. Miami would love to see Logan Morrison get his knee fixed and get healthy and become their everyday first baseman next year. See if that happens. Here's Dobbs. He's tapped out weakly to second twice. Dobbs had some good years with the Phillies, you recall. They had that two-headed pinch hit monster with Philadelphia. Matt Stairs would try to hit home runs. Dobbs would be the high on base percentage pinch hitter for Philadelphia. And because of all the injuries that Miami has suffered, all the trades that they've made, Dobbs has seen an awful lot of playing time. 14 games as a starter at first base, 30 games at third, 10 games at left, 14 games in right.
Third base is natural position, but when Hanley Ramirez was with the ball club, he wasn't going to play there. That Dodger ball club that made all those moves to improve their team, and they got some good players, but it just hasn't translated into enough wins for them. Killing San Diego tonight 8-0.
Dobbs fouls one away, stays alive, 2 balls, 2 strikes. That chemistry thing is a funny thing, isn't it? Yes, they made great trades. Yes, they made, I should say, trades for great players. The Dodgers haven't been the same club since. You're right, Joe. Giants have won the West, and LA running out of time in the wild card. And Dobbs is down on strikes. Mahalam is dealing right now, folks. He sent down 11 consecutive men. He leads the game 2-0 in the middle of the 6th. Brought to you in part by Ford, by the Home Depot, by Checkers, and by AT&T. Braves up 2-0 over the Marlins in Game 2 of our series. Dan Uggla ready to lead things off. Before he does, Go online now at foxsportssouth.com and catch part 2 of our Q&A with Chipper Jones. Log on to hear the third baseman open up about his career and his final season. Find the full interview and more about Chipper on foxsportssouth.com. And Ugla grounds the first pitch to Velasquez at third. A nifty play. Lee can't scoop it up. And Ugla's aboard safely. That's a throwing error on Velasquez.
When he was doing that spin around, he didn't have the ball out of his glove yet. So then he had to hurry to get it out of his glove and didn't get much arm action on it.
Brian McCann bats with Ugla at first and nobody out. Brian struck out twice tonight.
Braves lineup is a dangerous lineup going into postseason because of the success the top of the orders had consistently all year long, but also because Dan Ugla has shown signs over the last 3 weeks of playing real well. In fact, his last 17 games, a .293 average coming into tonight. And Brian McCann had already begun to show signs of coming out of his season-long battles, but a lot of that you could attribute to injuries. So if Brian and Ugla get a little hot at the start of postseason, watch out.
Again, for Brian, a milestone game tonight, his 1,000th in the major leagues. Does anybody remember Brian's debut?
You bet.
June 10th, 2005 against Oakland. He went 2 for 5 with an RBI and had an RBI single in his first major league plate appearance. If I'm not mistaken, his family was sitting right below us and was yelling and screaming with every play that night.
And when you said debut, in my head I was thinking postseason, and I remember him hitting a home run off Roger Clemens here in one of his first postseason games too.
Sharply hit and into center field. Ugla around second. He'll make it to third. McCann hits a rope. And the Braves have runners at the corners with nobody out.
Pretty good pitch too.
It was a pretty good pitch. That ball was hit hard. That ball scooted through that infield quick. But you know, back to your point, like you were talking, Joe, earlier about winning the playoff spot and kind of freeing themselves up from everything that went on last year and all that stuff. That could be a good scenario for Brian and Dan too. And now that that's kind of behind them, they've kind of put themselves in a position where they know they've got a playoff spot. Brian and Dan might be in a situation where they start to play a little bit more relaxed. And on top of that, they've been swinging the bat better lately. Those two things could combine for them to, like you say, really get hot. And if they do, this is a very dangerous offense.
Those of us who didn't play always wonder, is there a carryover effect from regular season play to postseason play? Because as we know, once the regular season's over, slate's clean. Everybody's 0-0 again. So do good habits carry over, and can bad habits carry over?
You know, I guess they can, but I think you go into it with a much better mental attitude than you do when you're knee deep into the season and you're struggling. You know, when you're knee deep in the season, you're thinking more about the moment and how can I get going, and you look up and you see what your numbers are. You're having a bad year. When all that's erased and you're in the postseason, none of that matters. You're just worried about that at bat, that game. What can you do to help your team win this game?
Simmons, a bouncing ball toward third. Velasquez will make a quick throw to first. No advance by Ugla. Brian McCann moves up to second base with one out, and Paul Mahalam.
I'd say Josh Johnson's made some good pitches tonight when he's been in the biggest trouble. Braves with the bases loaded, one out in the third inning, and he struck out Ugla and McCann. And first and third here, he made a good pitch in on Simmons that didn't get a run in.
So The infield comes in with pitcher Mahalam up. Paul's 0 for 2, but he's put the ball in play twice. And a pitch out. Thinking squeeze might be on. The other thing too, fellas, as you know about postseason play, how much more everything is magnified. Situations like this, are they able to pitcher up? This is a scoring chance. Playoffs, you got to cash in a run here, don't you?
Absolutely, you do.
Go back to Anderton and his at bat. Maybe a little youthful exuberance there, first and third. You got to remind yourself who's in trouble so that you can get a pitch at the very least to hit a fly ball and get a sacrifice fly. Which is something Freddie Freeman talked about last night after the game, that he was looking for something that he could get, that he could hit in the air. Try to get Chipper home to tie the game.
Squeeze is on, and Mahalam did not touch that ball. It's a wild pitch.
I wondered where Buck was going. Why he was in such a hurry to get back to the screen.
I heard the tick, and I thought it was fouled away by Mahalam. But on a wild pitch, Ugla comes home to score to make it 3-0.
Right about now, Josh Johnson saying, "You got to be kidding me."
Off the glove and not the bat. Wow.
That scored a stolen base. So McCann's at third, Ugla's home, and it's a 2-2 pitch to Mahalam. And he's retired. But hey, the Braves scored another run.
Got the run in.
Unconventionally, but they'll take it.
That was crazy.
Now, from my angle, I saw Mahalam offer, and I thought he fouled it away.
Me too.
I saw him offer, but it didn't sound like it was the bat.
And replay showed it wasn't, so Atlanta happy to have a third run. Now let's see if Constanza can bring home Brian McCann and make it 4-0. Delta Airlines on deck batter is Martin Prado. 2 more hits, 2 RBIs tonight, including a homer.
What a year.
He's another guy that I'm thrilled for his exposure to be on the national stage in postseason play. Prado's never been there either. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Constanza watch that sail outside. 9 o'clock in Atlanta. The Braves have a 3-0 lead. Paul Mahalam trying to pick up his 13th win this season. Brian McCann at third after his first hit of the night. Braves cashed in a Velasquez throwing error. Dan Ugla credited with a steal of home on a pitch high and away with Mahalam in the batter's box.
It sounds like an odd scoring, but he was running. He was taking off. He was running to the plate.
Yep.
And they botched it.
Jose stays alive, still 2-2.
Dan taken off to the plate, and John Buck just didn't make the catch on the what turned out to be an attempted pitch out.
A little low. 3-2. Good fight here by Jose in the Atlanta 6th. Ninth pitch of the at bat. And it's over the outside corner. 7 strikeouts for Josh Johnson. But the Braves bank a Marlins error and now lead 3-0. Headed to the 7th. Marlins 3-0 as we head to inning number 7.
Braves got some early runs as they did against Josh Johnson the last time they faced him. Martin Prado wasted no time putting the Braves on the board with his 10th home run of the year. Second batter of the ball game for Atlanta. Then in the 3rd inning, Martin involved again as he played at Jose Constanza, who had reached and stolen a base. And just moments ago, after Ugla reached on an error and worked his way around to 3rd base, a squeeze play was on and the Marlins didn't handle it defensively, and he scored on what was ruled a stolen base.
So Mulholland to work, retiring 11 straight Marlins. And he's got Donovan Solano in the batter's box. In the 7th inning in Philadelphia, Washington 5, Phillies 2. Milwaukee's beating the Reds 4-1 tonight. Game's in the 6th inning in Cincinnati. And hope Dusty Baker's doing okay.
You bet.
It wasn't just a heart condition, we understand, for the Red skipper.
Yeah, they were ready to discharge him from the hospital in Chicago on Friday, and he suffered what was called a mini stroke.
But Dusty's expected to return to the managerial chair for the final series of the year for the Reds and then guide them into postseason play.
Yeah, he's back in Cincinnati, so that's good news.
Reds and Nationals duking it out for the top record in the National League. As Solano grounds to Dan Ugla. 1 man down. We'll wrap up the series with the Marlins here tomorrow night. The Braves have dominated the Fish this year. 12-4 starting play tonight. And a chance perhaps for a sweep as you see our Chevron upcoming starters.
You could look at Jacob Turner for the first time. He was part of the deal with the Tigers. It also brought them the young catcher Brantley.
And speaking of the Tigers, how about their race in the American League Central? White Sox and Tigers 82 and 72. 8 games left.
Well, you better win the division.
Yep.
Because neither one of them have much of a chance of getting into the wild card picture.
Top 2 wild card teams in the American League, and I'm sure everybody in baseball had Baltimore and Oakland as the wild card winners in the junior circuit this year.
Tom and I did.
I did. I think if I go back and look, I had them.
That's why trivia is so hard for you guys. You get the wild card, but not the trivia. But how about Baltimore? What a year for Buck Showalter. And the Baltimore Orioles and Oakland too. As John Buck shoots one down the right field line, that's slicing toward the seats and into them. 1 ball, 2 strikes for the Wyoming home run champion. John Buck.
Yeah, Laser Baker looked it up for us. He's hit more home runs than any other player born in Wyoming, passing Mike Devereaux.
Urban Inventors loosening in the Atlanta pen. Tom Kohler is up for the Marlins. The pitcher spots due 4th for Miami in the 7th inning. More on John Buck. Let's check in with Tom Hart.
Very interesting tidbit that you have, Chip, on John Buck, because as far as I've always been told, there is no high school baseball season in the state of Wyoming. They do, however, play American Legion ball.
So odds are against you developing enough for scouts to come take a look at you.
I bet they had a great rodeo team.
Well, especially when your name's Buck.
Yes, exactly. Good one. 2 outs. Here's Velasquez. 13 straight retired by Mahalam after a bit of a rough start. I mean, he had 2 runners on in the first, 2 runners on in the second. But got a couple of ground ball outs to Dan Uggla and has been cruising ever since the 3rd inning. In fact, 4-3 has been Mahalam's best friend tonight. 1, 2, 3. Got 5 of them hit by the Marlins out to Dan Uggla so far tonight. And a base hit up the middle. Velasquez has a 2-hit night. It looks like Johnson will be taken down for Austin Kearns. He'll come on and pinch hit. All season long, Braves baseball on Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price.
Every day.
And that might be the last pitch of the night for Paul Mahalam. Freddie Gonzalez on his way out. He'll take the baseball, and this crowd in Atlanta will give Paul a nice standing ovation. Well deserved. 6 2/3 of shutout baseball and only 5 hits allowed.
3-0 our score, and Paul Mulholland had another good night. 6 2/3 innings, 5 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Chad Durbin on to try and finish the inning here, but Mulholland had it working tonight. As Chip said, struggled a little bit early, but then found his command. He had a good breaking ball tonight, which he used often for the strikeout. He had a lot of ground balls. I think Chip said 5 of them to Dan Ugla. So he had that working for him, but you see there he had the slider down and in, the slider or breaking ball away to the lefties. Used that pitch to both left and right-handed hitters, both sides of the plate. Was a big strikeout pitch for him tonight, and pitched a real good ball game.
You know, something that just occurred to me too that I failed to mention was the fact that Paul hadn't pitched since the 18th. So he had 8 days off because of the shuffle in the rotation. Right. So he might have been a little rusty there the first couple of innings in terms of just feel for the baseball and release point.
So Chad Durbin answers the AT&T call to the bullpen. He'll face Austin Kearns. Josh Johnson out after 6 innings of 3-run ball. Very short bench for Ozzie Guillen. We've mentioned all the injuries and their organizational choice not to call many guys up from the minor leagues. And even the guys they send up there may not be 100% physically. Kearns has been bothered by a bad back in recent days. He's quickly behind 0-2.
Joaquin Feinberg in our truck reminded us too that the Braves have not walked a batter in this series.
Strike 3 called. Well, whenever Joaquin Feinberg comes up with a big stat, the Braves are usually in the win column. They're leading 3-0 tonight as we head to the 7th inning stretch. Last night is the performance of Chris Medlin. He didn't get the win, but the Braves won an astounding 22nd consecutive game in which Chris Medlin started, and Chris had a great quote talking about the amazing role he's been on.
I love this. I loved what he said here. You can't really win consistently until you lose. You got to have the heartbreak to know how to react in situations and how to bounce back. It's huge for us to be here, especially since the way things ended last year. Losing's a big part of being able to win, and that's what we're doing so far. I thought that was very good.
Didn't know that Chris was a long-lost relative of Yogi Berra.
There you go. But Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard comparisons from this September to last. There really isn't a comparison, especially in the pitching department. Almost a run and a half better for the starters and almost 2 runs better in the bullpen.
Well, you learn a lot about yourself when you go through stuff like that, both as an individual and as a team. And like we keep saying, you know, we got to give these guys credit. They've had to deal with it all year long. They've had to answer questions all year long, and I'm sure right up until the last week or so. And they just kept after it. They kept going, and they believed in themselves, and they've given themselves this opportunity now.
So the Braves are up 3-0.
trying to teach Chad that move when you come out of the bullpen. He worked on so hard with Eddie Perez last night.
That's right.
I tell him it's really quite simple.
So the Braves chase Josh Johnson.
This was last night before he went on the field.
That just kills me every time.
And if you really like Dancing with the Stars, we'll keep showing the Eddie Perez, Chris Medlin clip. But if you like guys that throw hard, you're in for a treat. This kid is a very promising prospect for the Marlins. Tom Kohler. How about that sequence?
I said this when we were down in Florida, and I'm gonna back it up again. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he'll be in their rotation next year.
Well, he's thrown 3 1/3.
Real big limb.
3 1/3 innings against the Braves. He struck out 8 men in relief.
That'd be interesting to say they give him a start here before the end of the year.
Well, he's already reached Tom his innings limit. They can't possibly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Just kidding about that. But he's got a big arm. 1 ball, no strikes. Hey, things getting snug in Philadelphia. 5-3 now. Washington leads in the 7th inning at Citizens Bank Park. Two balls and a strike. Jason's walked. He's stolen a base. He reached the 20-20 club with that stolen base tonight. Andrew Jones, the last Brave to have 20 or more steals and 20 or more homers. Andrew did that back in the 2000 campaign for the Braves. Jason had a 3rd inning single to right and struck out against Josh Johnson his last time up. To second.
It's pretty good difference on the speed of changeup and fastball when you say 94, 95 to 83.
Yeah, that's a little bit tough to cover both of those.
Might be the last at bat of the night for Chipper. Braves fans are hoping so, and they respond with another ovation. Fly ball right center field. He got under it just a touch. And Gorkis Hernandez, shy of the track, is there to retire the side. Chipper gave it a ride but is retired. And we head to the 8th inning. The Braves enjoy a 3-0 lead over the Marlins.
In the 8th inning, Chipper Jones told his teammates the message is clear. They're still chasing a division title.
My message to everybody was, hey, have fun with it tonight, but realize that we've got more work to do, and stay focused on that, until we either get to the Nationals or they close us out. Whichever one it is, we're going to bust our humps to get there.
The message from Freddie Gonzalez was the same, guys. When I talked to him this afternoon, he said we are going to still run this lineup out and go hard each and every day. He said sometimes it helps if you're playing well and playing good not to take a break. Just try to keep it going all the way through the postseason. And guys, if the Braves are looking for a little bit more motivation, look what we found. The Nationals are showing some of that attitude. And while they have yet to wrap up the East Division title, well, the folks in their souvenir stands are ahead of the game. That's right, 2012 NL East Division champion T-shirts available for the Washington Nationals already.
Wow. Huh. Eric O'Flaherty answers the AT&T bullpen call. Awfully presumptuous of the Nationals to have the T-shirts for sale before they've wrapped up the division.
A little bit of the bulletin board fodder.
Yeah. Another great year for Eric. And Peterson sprays one down the left field line foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I remember one year we had somebody planning a parade when we were playing them. Didn't work out so well for them.
Swing and a miss by Peterson. He's 0 for 4 and 0 for his last 17. Bulletin board material. Is it really that effective for you guys?
It can be. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it's overblown, but look, in a case like that, you can bet that everybody in that clubhouse is going to be aware that those T-shirts are already available. Believe it. Now, at the end of the day, whether or not they're able to do anything about it, who knows? But if you needed motivation, there's a little bit more.
A bunt try by Hernandez. He didn't get it. Strike 1. The other thing to remember, the Nationals have the rest of their game tonight with the Phillies and 4 more with Philadelphia. They have a real heated rivalry. That is not at all a friendly Eastern Division matchup. And as we saw last year when the Phillies came to town for the final weekend, Charlie Manuel respects the game enough that even though his club is out of postseason play, he's going to play those games to win them.
Well, I just like when they, like tonight, falling behind 5 runs, and now it's 5-3. With Philadelphia in their ballpark.
Hernandez, a soft line drive into shallow right. And he's aboard with 1 out.
All they got to do is get one guy on. And every other guy that comes to the plate is a threat to tie the game up. So they're within shouting distance, certainly.
And keep in mind, too, Tyler Clippard, who has become the Nationals closer, has not had a good September. His ERA has ballooned way up. I believe it's over 8 this month.
Yeah, he's lost the job finishing games. He's moved back into the 8th spot. Storen's been closing lately.
So maybe with a 5-3 score in the 8th, Clippard will be the next man out for Washington, which could make things interesting in Philadelphia. 1 for 3 night for Jose Reyes, as you see. Loves hitting in this ballpark. Little tapper over the mound. Simmons got a good read on it. Takes care of Reyes. Hernandez to second with 2 outs, and I shortchanged Clippard on his ERA. It's over 9 in September.
I'm sure he'd be okay with you shortchanging him a little bit.
All right, let's not get shortchanged on the trivia question. Our AT&T Uverse query tonight: who's the only player with more steals since 2005 than Jose Reyes?
Carl Crawford.
Juan Pierre.
God, I have no idea. Michael Bourne.
Good call. Good call.
Chipapalooza. We win.
We win.
That's exactly right. That makes us 2 for 2, I think, in this series, right?
Sure does.
Finishing strong.
Speaking of that, Eric O'Flaherty, I believe, might be the most perhaps overlooked, underrated guy in the Braves bullpen. Talk all the time about Kimbrel at the end, talk about Venners and how he can be dominant sometimes in the 7th inning, and Eric O'Flaherty may be the guy that we take for granted the most.
Chipper at third. Plenty of time to get Carlos Lee.
Hasn't given up an earned run since July 13th. That's 27 appearances ago.
Atlanta's bullpen looks postseason ready. They enjoy a 3-0 advantage in the 8th. Baseball is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by Georgia Power, by Burger King, and by Ram Trucks. The Braves are blanking the Marlins tonight as we head to the last of the 8th inning. Chipper's final October trip is almost here, fans. It's time for you to make your plans to cheer him on here at Turner Field. Postseason tickets are on sale now. It could be for the wild card, which would be Friday, October 5th. Or who knows if the Braves can catch the Nationals for the division title. That playoff date to be named later. Visit Braves.com/postseason today and order your tickets. Dan Jennings is the new Marlins relief pitcher.
He worked a third of an inning last night, struck out pinch hitter Jeff Baker. Pointed out then, we'll point out again. 9 walks in 15+ innings.
Well, they have found themselves some good young arms for that bullpen. Jennings, another one. I've seen Kohler tonight. Ramos has picked up a ton of strikeouts against the Braves and some relief work. Steve Cishek has closed some games for them with Heath Bell's implosion. So a season that for Marlins fans means looking for silver linings. That might be your best case scenario as they look ahead to 2013.
Any team, in my opinion, that wants to improve their ball club from one year to the next, start in the bullpen. You improve your bullpen, and just look at Baltimore as a good example. Their team hasn't changed that much, but their bullpen is spectacular and has done a great job.
Fly ball to center. Hernandez twists and turns, and in the middle of the warning track makes the catch to retire Freddie Freeman. And to take that a step further, Joe, I was talking with Ozzie Guillen down in Miami on our last visit there, and he said, if you're going to win in the East, not only do you have to have a good bullpen, you have to have a good left-handed pitching part of your bullpen with the teams you face day in and day out in this Eastern Division. By that he meant, obviously, Tommy, all the good left-handed hitters.
Well, absolutely. Every team needs to have that lefty that can get out. Your Jason Hayward, Freddie Freeman, Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Adam LaRoche, you name it, in Washington. So, yeah, absolutely. You better have somebody you can count on.
Fly ball by Uglett to left. That's playable for Peterson. Speaking of which, in Philadelphia, Tyler Clippard is on to pitch the 8th inning, and the Phillies have put their leadoff man on at second base. So the tying run's coming to the plate for the Phillies late at Citizens Bank Park.
Chase Utley with a leadoff double. So they got the right part of the order up.
Here's Brian McCann with 2 outs. Balls, 2 strikes. Base is empty in the 8th. And the inning is over. Kohler and Jennings with some effective pitches. McCann might have tweaked something with that last swing and a miss. We'll check on that as we head to the 9th inning. Ball is brought to you in part by Sony Picks. Here comes the boom. By Nissan. By Jameson Inn. By the Georgia Lottery. And by McDonald's. The Braves try to complete the shutout of the Marlins as we head to the 9th inning. And a painful last swing, it appeared, for Brian McCann a moment ago.
Yeah, that one-handed follow-through looked like it overextended him a little bit. Chipper kind of keeping a close eye on him too. Watch his reaction. That's not good.
And that's the kind of swing that has given Brian trouble, with that cyst in the shoulder joint and I believe they termed it fraying of the labrum in the shoulder.
Correct.
Hopefully it just tweaked it a little bit.
So Atlanta makes a couple of changes here in the 9th inning. Reed Johnson takes over in center field, and Craig Kimbrell answers what we hope will be final AT&T call to the bullpen tonight.
Going for his 40th save.
.107 strikeouts for Kimbrell. Amazing. Greg Dobbs. Dobbs is 0 for 3 tonight. 2 ground outs and a strikeout. What was it that someone said the other day, Joe, about Kimbrell? He throws it and they just can't see it.
Yeah, well, I think it was Jason Stark who said that there are people who are swinging and can't hit it. And for him, from a Cy Young standpoint on a vote, he said, I'm going to vote for the guy who people swing at and can't hit.
Dobbs couldn't. 1 out.
Here's that list of things we showed you the other day that's just ridiculous. Best in Major League history, 16.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. Batting average by opponents. OPS, walks and hits per inning pitched. Ridiculous stuff. 107 strikeouts, 26 hits. That's the best ratio of all time. Who?
Donovan Solano, 1 for 3. And that seems to me the biggest difference between Kimbrell this year and last year. Last year he was the Rookie of the Year, but strike one very consistently this year.
Tyler Clippard, wild pitch Utley to third. Ruiz walk, first and third, 1 out. Go fighting Phils.
No balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. McCann off balance, try to first, cannot get Donovan Solano. So the Marlins have their second strikeout of the game, where a runner has reached on a wild pitch. Jose Reyes reached in the first inning. Solano here in the 9th.
And each time it was one of those that bounced up high where Brian couldn't find it. And I may be reading too much into this, but when Brian did pick it up barehanded, it looked like he even weighed whether or not he even wanted to make the throw with his right arm. He's said before that it doesn't bother him to throw his shoulder. Just on those extended swings, one-handed swings.
So Kimbrell a chance to strike out 4 men in the 9th inning. Zach Greinke yesterday for the Angels struck out 4 men in an inning, as the Angels struck out 20 Mariners in a game. Powder River to Buck, 0-2.
99.
Yeah, it's getting loose now. 98 on the one before, 99 on that one. finding his groove a little bit.
Phillies have made it a 5-4 game at Citizens Bank Park. There are, however, 2 outs. Dominic Brown, a sac fly. And the young man they call jokingly Babe Ruth is up for the Phillies. His first big league hit was a homer the other day. Let's see if he can be an 8th inning hero in Philadelphia. Here the Braves lead 3-0, 1 on, 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. John Buck is the second out. That's the 3rd strikeout of the inning for Kimbrel.
And the golden sombrero for John Buck tonight. 4 strikeouts, all swinging.
Can't be a good feeling to have the hat trick and then going up to the plate to face Kimbrel.
No, it can't.
Abandon all hope, ye who enter the batter's box. Here's Velasquez, 2 for 3, both hit singles. Swing and a miss. Solano will take second on defensive indifference. The last Brave with 4 strikeouts in an inning in relief was Mark Wohlers.
I was just going to fire Mark at you. I figured it was him. I remember him doing it.
June of 1995. Kimbrel's 1 strike away from doing that tonight.
Oh.
And it just missed the outside corner. Bingo. That was a strike for Josh Johnson earlier.
Pitcher's pitch right there.
By the way, the Phillies have runners 1st and 3rd now. Down a run in the 8th inning to the Nationals.
And that clanging you heard was not pots and pans slamming together in Washington.
One ball, 2 strikes. Ball game over. Kimbrel strikes out 4 in the 9th inning. And the Braves have beaten the Marlins. A 3-0 shutout. Boy, outstanding Atlanta pitching again tonight. It started with Paul Mahalam. It ended with Craig Kimbrel. And a big night at the plate for left fielder Martin Prado. The Braves earn their 90th victory of the season. And a chance for a series sweep against the Marlins here tomorrow night. 3-0 our final score. Back to Turner Field with more in a moment.